What do you do when one of your drawings sucks? Do you snap your tablet pen in half? Do you punch a window? Do you quit and just forget about drawing and do something else with your life? Okay, for real, if one of your drawings is not going the way you want, or if many of your drawings are not going the way that you want, I have a most excellent approach for you, and it is one of my favorite things to do, personally keeps me super motivated, and that is to do it again. All right, that's the answer. You can shut the video off now. Just kidding, just kidding. Don't click away. I really need this watch time. So basically what we're gonna do today is take one of my crappy old drawings to make it better, and then you will know exactly what to do to make your drawings better. This is my character here. So it's like a cool idea, but it's not executed that well. You have like photon light powers. You got kind of a dynamic pose, but it's also kind of an awkward pose, so I'll work on that. There are perspective issues here, there are proportional issues, and there's too many folds in the clothing. Look at all those folds. Look at that. Just no. Like, there's not even that many folds in this shirt. I can do a whole bunch of things, and it only folds so much, and you can simplify those folds. Then lastly, we have a weak or lackluster character design. I kind of see what I was trying to do, but we can do better. So when you make a drawing that isn't that potent, what you want to do is you want to start sketching. If he's like a fighter, he'd find a way to not just like be doing this sort of weird, awkward villain pose. Like, look at this, it's awful. It's just so ugly. What is this? What is this? Think about the way that your beings sit, how you want something to look. Let's go, buddy. Ha ha! What's good? What's going on? Like, even stuff like, how are you going to fight? You know, just ask yourself questions about the pose, because if the pose is bad, it's all gonna feel bad. If the proportions are bad, it's all gonna feel bad. If there's too many folds, we're gonna get distracted. It's not gonna be as good as it could be. And if there is a lackluster character design, we're not gonna spend time going, ooh, ah, look at all the cool stuff on the character. It's gonna be more like, instead, what we have to do is we got to come up with a cool dynamic pose. I'm just like shooting lines out in directions, and the lines are proxies for the limbs, because I can always draw the limbs in later, but I need to know if the pose is going to be cool. This is an alright pose, but I didn't test any poses back in the day, so it's like, well, there's one pose, let's try another one. You got to ask yourself, like, what is the motivation? What is the character like? You know, what is the fighting style? Any question that you can answer for yourself is going to make your art better. It's going to inform making a drawing that doesn't suck so much. So oftentimes things suck because the ideas of every level just aren't that fleshed out. This one looks it's a little too spicy. I don't know. It's not what I want for the character, so I'm going to veto this pose. Let's try again, and you see how many times I'm like guessing and checking. This one looks like it could be cool. I'll shoot some dynamic angles out for the hips and the pelvis. I mean the shoulders and the pelvis. I know anatomy. Shut up. I'm feeling this one. We're like twisting the forms. And when you twist the forms and you don't break them, you get really dynamic effects. Dynamism comes from diangles. Oh. I need more coffee, clearly. Dynamic forms come from diagonals as well as twisting. So when you have twisting and bending and diagonals, you are going to create a more dynamic pose by proxy. It doesn't need to feel super balanced if it's in motion or it's in action. It's like he's blocking and dancing. I thought this was gonna be the one. I'm just trying to find that pose, and that in and of itself can take a while, but you see why a good drawing does take a while. You're exhausting the options and starting from the most solid basis possible. Because if you start from the most solid basis that you possibly can, then when you move into each preceding stage, things tend to look better, they tend to work out in your favor. And we're gonna start sketching our character in more detail now. So this is 100%, it's kind of small, so I'm just gonna size the canvas up. For those of you wondering what I'm drinking, it's buttermilk with honey in it. I'm not even kidding. Why, you might ask? I say, why not? This probably isn't gonna be the final sketch because I wanna make sure that I'm laying in these shapes in an interesting way, and that all these different cuts make sense of, like, you know, edges where the shapes end and whatnot. Like, I wouldn't want goggles on if I was fighting. Like, you just don't want to get hit in the face with goggles. I'm sorry, it's just like hilarious to me, like somebody fighting you with goggles on. It's like, you better be like a long range fighter. You don't want to get punched in the face with goggles, baby. That's not the way to go down. It's not the way to go out. You make a drawing better by stealing your own shapes. They're yours. Just steal them from yourself. So let's talk character design for a second. As I'm sketching in this character, I'm thinking, what are cool subdivisions? Subdivisions to me are one of the easiest things to think in when you're talking character design. So a subdivision is just a place where things kind of subdivide. They begin and end. The end of like a sleeve, for example, or like the collar. And I know I just touched the mic. It probably made a really crunchy noise. And you got to figure out, okay, well, how can I subdivide that even more and make that really cool? Like, what if you have light lines running through the actual attire? I don't know, nothing is cool about a turtleneck necessarily, but you just decide the cut of every item for your character. So there's the clothing is part of the character design, and you notice I'm not using anywhere near as many folds as I did, but I am making my arms way bigger. My arms are not that big. They're not, I'm not that swole, guys. I'm not that swole. You gotta have fun when you're making videos. You gotta have fun when you're drawing. Otherwise, it's gonna get boring and it's gonna look like you were bored when you were drawing it. Okay, so those are kind of cool. I like those subdivisions. I like using squares as a means to create character design. Areas of focus. Square areas of focus. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out. Low-key, it's kind of scary in there. Oh, dude. Cargo pants. I mean, it'd be really cool to have pants with a bunch of pockets. I think I'm gonna try it. I like the bulky shape of those types of pants. I think that I'm just working with these squares and I'm looking for any excuses to add squares, because squares make a character seem solid. And now we have a stronger drawing at its core. We have better perspective, we have better character design, better anatomy, and we have less folds. The design is just better, okay? We don't need to show the full process for you to have gotten the point of the video. You take it and you break down what fundamentals are not working and what about the idea could be pushed. If you have a drawing and you just finished it and then you look at it and you're like, okay, well fundamentally what is wrong? Is it proportions? Is it the pose? Is it the perspective? You know, all of your P's. You're just thinking about all these things that I teach you in my beginner drawing course, because if you haven't taken that course and you're a beginner, I'm sorry, but you're missing out. You're really not going to understand how you can make your drawings better as easily because you don't know what to break down fundamentally. You don't know what basics to turn to when something doesn't work. So just do yourself a favor and go check it out. Link in the description, and also you can just go to thebeginnerdrawingcourse.com. Confession time. I either have enough brain power to be mildly amusing and to sketch, or to shut my face and solve actual drawing and painting problems. So what you're seeing right now is me when I'm just drawing and painting without having to be witty and quippy and barely funny at all. So anyway, I just want to say thank you for watching. Happy drawing, happy painting. If you want, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. My socials are in the description box below. You can also check out the courses in the description box. And that is about all I have for you today. Happy drawing, happy painting, and God bless. Take care.